Hello, my name is James Lincoln. I'm the sponsorship captain for the New Prague High School Robotics Team. I am also a build team member, and I'm here to talk to you about just a few things that have happened this year and kind of just our overall summary of, I should not say this year, but our build season. So to start off the build season, we kind of had a little bit of a problem and kind of just couldn't decide on a final design, and then we came together and decided on our arm idea. There were a few specifications that got worked out in the next few days, and then we started to get to work about Tuesday, Thursday of our next week, since we don't have Wednesday as a meeting. During that week, we kind of had programming, which was triple the amount that we really needed. Well, they couldn't really, they tried to help out where they could, and it was a little difficult. We had CAD struggling to try and get everything done in time, and design helping CAD to try and get as much of the robot CAD'd as fast as possible, because we needed that done in the first week. Sooner or later on, we got most of the programming team helping with CAD, and this was a great advantage, but none of them had experience, so there was a little bit of a problem. For the first 2 weeks, we had to train in all of our CAD members to try and train in all the programming to learn CAD, and that was a little bit of a problem, and that I should say took up a lot of our time. But we eventually got it CAD'd. We got the parts ordered as soon as we could. But the parts took a while and everything like that. And we got our chassis, the build team, while all this is going on, got the chassis done, thankfully, but we didn't have any of the parts. So then we started ordering the parts, and we ordered all the parts, and then we realized we had to order more parts before the first parts even arrived, and then we ordered the second parts, and the first parts took a lot longer than we expected, and all these situations kind of worked in together. About 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, we finally got almost all of our parts, and we started building, and build team was in a rush. The original programming that went to CAD now went to build to try and help out as much as they could, which was extremely helpful, but then we had to train them in, and which was another situation, another setback that we weren't expecting. And after we trained those in, which thankfully only took about a day, or I shouldn't say a day, a few hours, about half of our meeting that first day, and then we were off. And our new build team captain, Max Redfern, did a great job with managing this year, and I think that was definitely a helpful thing to our how well the team worked together, specifically the build team. And we pretty much rushed, and we manufactured parts finally, and we actually had parts that were accurate this year. We had parts that fit well together. We figured out how stuff assembles a lot better, and we assembled them faster. And we didn't have many problems with, oh, this hole's the wrong size, or this hole is a quarter of an inch off. We very, very rarely had those, which was definitely a jump from last year. We definitely have improved a lot from last year, and now we're getting to the end of the 2 weeks there. We have build, and currently we are just finishing up the robot. We have very, very few things that we have to work on. We just have to perfect the wrist. The arm mechanism is built for our first robot, and our Shadowbot is getting the arm mechanism is finishing up. And so we should be good for bag and tag.
All right, what we've been working on this year for programming, we're sort of like at about the halfway point where at the end of the season we're sort of starting to get an idea of what we want to do with the rest of the code. So we've gotten, obviously we've gotten driving working by now, a little later than we'd really have liked it to, but it took a little bit of extra time because of the way we did things with the CAN bus and stuff. It was a bit of a pain, but we figured it out. The main challenge that we've been working on this year with programming can actually be seen in this file right here, because it's all the junk with the arm that we're building. And the main issue is basically just indexing the lead screw so we know what angle the arm will be at all times. And so to do that, we're using a potentiometer built into the arm itself, and we're going to read from that to get the angle that the arm is at and stuff. So that's sort of been like the biggest thing we've been working on in programming. And in the meantime, we've actually been working on, in order to get that working, we have a class that actually just handles the new Bosch seat motor that's in the FRC kit of parts, and we're going to be releasing this at the end of the year, hopefully, so other teams can use it, because it basically just gives you the ability to use the seat motor controlled by really any motor controller you want, because it's, you know, all the same, and you can use that essentially just to control it and give it a certain rotate by this amount of degrees, and this is pretty like integral to most of the programming we're going to be doing this year. We haven't done a whole lot of interesting things. It's been pretty generic programming so far.
Hey, so I'm here to talk about the ShadowBot that we built over the build season. So I think everybody knows that we're building a robot. That's kind of what we do. But we also built a second one identical to it, which we call a ShadowBot. The idea is that these two robots will be exactly alike, so that when the bag and tag comes in a few days, we'll still have a robot, because we had to take our competition robot and bag it up, and then we can't touch it or take it out of that bag until competition. And because of that, we're not allowed to run it, and we can't drive the robot and practice and see how it works. So we have a second one we call a ShadowBot that we can drive around until competition, so that when we go into competition, we'll actually know how it all works, and we'll be used to how it drives. So yeah, it's not quite finished like the actual robot is, but it should be done in the next few days or week, hopefully. Other than that, the ShadowBot's fairly simple. It's identical to the other one almost, so that's about it.
Hello, my name is James Lincoln. I'm the sponsorship captain of the New Prague High School Robotics Team. I am also a build team member of the team, and today I'm going to be talking to you about our pit plan. So for our pit last year, we had a PVC pipe. Our pit has to be, or it's not a requirement, but at competition it kind of shows your team off. And it has to be a 10 by 10 area, and it's kind of just where we work at competition, other than on the field when we're driving. So we have to kind of design a pit to show our confidence, show what we are as a team. And this year we're either planning on using our PVC pit, or with the build team members that aren't specifically helping with the robot or are on strategy team, from now next Tuesday, which is bag and tag, until competition, we're going to be trying to get them to help build and redesign a new pit. We do not know the materials exactly, but we're going to try and make it so it shows off our team a little better, more in a brighter light, and yeah.
Long story short, on strategy team, if you want to talk to other people, we are going to have, you guys know on football teams, they have their, like, in TV shows you see, but you see a bunch of lines with X's and zeros, etc., etc.
They're O's, not O's.
Exactly. Bunch of their O's. We're going to have something fairly similar to that, except we are going to have pieces of paper like these that are laminated, and I'm going to go fast, but this is how it's, because I know all the things you need to do. This is how it's going to be. You're going to start off, and you're going to draw boxes that are going to indicate the starting location before it can tell you what.
Isn't it three?
Yeah, there are three.
Oh, and the red thing. I saw the red box was already there.
No, it can go along lines of 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, because each team has a number that's assigned to them. You are then going to draw a line to the ending location of what they're going to do during tally-out. Autonomous tally-out.
Very different. They're the exact opposite parts of play.
Well, thank you. My bad. And then if they decide to score or put a box in, you then can put either a mark or a 0. Long story short, they can both, you can do either or to indicate whichever gets scored in. You need to be consistent. You can put 2 circles in to indicate how many boxes there are, or if someone continues to keep putting some in the scale of the switch, but don't mix it. You don't want to have that and then it looks like someone has an A or a G. You don't know how many are going to be in the beginning. And then when it comes to ending, after that during tally out,
Jack, you want just like say everybody just uses tally marks?
they can use tally marks or circles, whichever really one they want to use. You won't know what it means. That's why I said you have to stay consistent. Squares, yeah, I know, but squares, circles, what's easier? Circles, doesn't matter. Just be consistent, yeah?
Well, we need to be able to differentiate between, how many teams can put, so like, could we make like different marks for each team that we go to
No, it
to
doesn't
see?
matter.
Okay, doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
So long as we know what's going
As
on.
long as you know what's happening, that's what really matters. And then, after that, we're going to tell y'all what happens when there's a human player. Say, they go here, and then they want to focus on switch. You will then draw how they're going to get there. The goal is, you want to make it so that there's going to be as little lines crossing as possible. If you determine if they're going to score in that position, you draw a circle. So if they want to put boxes there, that's what they'll be working on, you put a circle. If, say, they can't really score boxes and they're kind of a dead bot, you will then have them go to a position and you'll put a square that means defense. And that can really be on anything. It's not really complex. Does anyone have any really big questions? I know I probably didn't do the greatest job of describing it. Does anyone have any big questions about how it works? Of course, people on actual strategy team are going to elaborate upon this more, but I'm doing this demonstration so that people who want to kind of understand what's happening can look at this and have a general understanding of what's happening.
I guess the main point of it, for people who don't know, it's so that the robot just doesn't drive around and you're trying to do stuff and the same team's trying to do the same thing. It's so that there's a clear plan between all three teams on how to win the match and what each team's gonna work on. Like one team's gonna focus on the vault or one focus on the scale, so everybody is doing their best to win.
So that way no one wanders aimlessly. And another thing that's going to be very important too, this doesn't really have that much to do with this, but for scouting, you're going to have people in the stands because we know who we're going up against a little bit ahead of time. So we're going to have people scouting.
We have a lot of it ahead of time. We literally get the entire schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, all at once.
We want to find out what other robots can do and then tell us ahead of time so that we can, have our strategy accordingly. Say we have an entire bot that's focused on scoring here and we have a dead bot, we'll be able to know where to put the dead bot, et cetera, et cetera.
Unless we're the first one.
Unless we're the first one, then, we hope. Anyone else have any other questions? Any comments? Raise your hand if I did a good job.
I got a question, Mark.
Oh,
Okay, have you looked at, like, what's it called? Rollblue or any other, digital scouting apps?
Scouting apps?
Yeah.
I have not done any scouting apps. I just
Okay.
did this.
Well,
Because it was
okay,
easiest.
I don't know, it's probably too late to implement, but it's essentially what it does is you have, like, either Kindles or Android phones or whatever, and then you have, you add in the scores or whatever, or you can also integrate it with bluelines.com. And then that's information, you have to communicate via Bluetooth because of the whole Wi-Fi rules, but then you store it on a central computer, and then you can then access the information.
Yeah, okay.
It kind of sounds like a
That's
more
exactly-
automated spreadsheet.
It's, yeah.
That
Okay,
sounds,
It sounds like what I did with just spreadsheets last year
Yeah.
because I was the king of spreadsheets.
that seems a lot more complicated than,
Then pieces
What
of
it
like
is?
laminated paper and a white erase marker.
Or-
No, but aren't you talking, first, scouting ahead of time? Like ahead of time, when you talk to teams, ask what they can do, you put it all into a giant thing.
Oh, we were gonna put it in a giant spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that I don't do this way. And the thing's dismissed. If anyone has any questions, come talk to me later. You guys can go do what you need to do. Oh my god! Hey!
no!